What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday, September 25th. Wow, we are it's spooky time. It is fall. It is officially here, and we are officially back with our Atlanta after show, if you want to call it that. Recap, breakdown, live discussion with all my ATL Atlanta fans out there. My name's Elliot. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the channel. Hey, we break down Atlanta on a weekly basis, and just last week we started this weekly routine. I mentioned in my last breakdown, and shout out to every single one of you all that watched last week's, or I should say this week's breakdown of Atlanta, episode 3, which we will be discussing today, which was titled Born to Die. But as I said in that video, man, the next 7 weeks, if time allows it, we'll be here every Sunday, 12 p.m. Central Time, talking about the latest episode of Atlanta. And like I said, today we are discussing that third episode, Born to Die. R.I.P. Yodel Kid. But what's going on again, guys? I appreciate you. I know it's football Sunday. It's the House of the Dragons Sunday, which we'll be talking about later today. But again, I appreciate you all tuning in. Do your boy a favor, give the video a like, give it a share to anyone and everyone you know that loves the show just as much as we do and want to have these type of discussions like we have, like we did last week. And also leave your thoughts in the comments, man. I want to know the stuff you all took away from it, the Easter eggs, the deeper meanings, the pros, the cons, and everything in between. So definitely leave your thoughts in the live chat. And also shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to you all. If you can do the same, it'd be much appreciated. And we're gonna get this thing started here in a bit. I did invite some guests. Again, I know it's Sunday and people relaxing, and I get that. So they might not be able to join us, but if not, we'll make it work. We'll make it happen. But we'll just see what we got. We'll see what we got. We got some people in the chat. What's going on, Neo? Let's see, new background. No, same background, same setup here. What's going on? What's going on? So yeah, guys, like I said, this episode, if you didn't get a chance to check out my review, you can definitely do so a little bit after this. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper than that review, because sometimes, when you're doing these reviews, you might have missed something or forgot to bring up something, or I've just watched the episode before I went live just to kind of, refresh myself or whatnot. So definitely some things I want to bring up in today's discussion as far as what we got. First and foremost, another fantastic episode. And man, I'm telling y'all, the connections right now with seeing Al as well as Earn, the parallels of them, how they went about getting new clients was obviously vastly different, with Earn being a little bit more of a veteran, and obviously Al trying his hand into this management game, which we'll talk about later, but he definitely doesn't have the stomach for it. But it is this very interesting to see, in particularly Al going on this journey, trying to find a new outlet, would you say? We've talked about it in the past, man, that I don't think Paperboy is in the best mindset regarding his career, his hip-hop career particularly. I don't think this is the life he wants to continue to live, whether it be, the traveling, being in demand, the having from, what was it, season 1 or season 2, maybe, when he had the conversation with the young lady about, like, you got to have a brand, you got to brand yourself, you got to always be on point and stuff like that. So I think we've been talking about it for a while, that I think inevitably by the end of this season, we're going to see him taking a new route. And I know some of you all think that, we might be seeing some foreshadowing of him and his demise, especially in this episode. Again, RIP to Yodel Kid, and also in episode 1, RIP to, Blue Blood. So we'll see what path we go on and continue to go on with Al. But I'm really looking forward to seeing ultimately, the big theme with this is like money. We always thought that Al, he's making good money, touring or whatnot. But as Bunk tells him in this episode, which we'll talk about when we get to that scene, it's just like, that's not how you make money. That's not how you sustain yourself. More importantly, that's not how you sustain this lifestyle. So it's interesting, man, to see this path that he's on. But speaking of path, my boy, my boy Earn, man, it goes back to episode 2. Not necessarily pettiness from Earn this episode, but that whole idea that he talked to his therapist about being, like, proving people wrong. And so much so that my man was willing to sit in the rallies, make believe. Shout out to Riley's. I'm in St. Louis, so there's Riley's out here a lot that I see. But I'm from Chicago, so I know the difference between a rally and a Checkers, which I used to go to a lot back in the day. But yeah, man, the journey that we see Earn on in this episode is something pretty interesting. And again, him just willing to do anything to prove people wrong and prove his boss wrong and all his coworkers at his job. But while I'm rambling on, I got one of my guests that just popped into the back room. So excited to have her on and get her thoughts on this episode. It's gonna be a good time, guys. I want you all to say what's up. Give her a heart in the comments. What's going on to Tyra from Struggle Reviews TV? How we doing, Tyra?
What's up, Elliot?
Hey, just out here trying to make a buck, like my man Paperboy, trying to find
Oh
that $1 million
man.
deal, right? How you doing on this Sunday?
Oh, thank you for the invite. I'm happy to be here. Like,
Of
this was
course.
a really great episode. I was like, they are coming out of the gate with some fire. Like, the thought process behind this one was really deep.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and we talked about it last week. I know you were, and myself being more of kind of I haven't followed a lot of the hip hop industry. I know you mentioned you kind of keep your ear to the ground, and this one being definitely heavily focused on how the industry has changed, streaming and Yodel Kids and TikTok and other world, and is Earn a dinosaur? Is the question that this episode kind of posed to us, but.
Mhm.
Tyra, before we break it all down, again, I appreciate you joining me. This is going to be a fun time, guys. Like I said, leave a heart in the comment for Tyra. Check out her channel. Of course, we're going to leave her information in the description. But Tyra, why don't you go ahead and reintroduce yourself for those that joined us last week, or introduce yourself for the first time for people that might be coming across you.
All right. I am Tyra with Struggle Reviews. You can, follow me on my Instagram. Of course, go and subscribe to my channel. I specialize in mostly throwback content, but I do also do the more contemporary movies. I'm getting more into trailer reactions, but it's a good time over there on my channel. I do like so much. I'm also getting into album reactions now because people are starting to pay for those. There is a paywall for my content, but there's also just really good stuff that comes out before that. So come on over and have a really, really good time on my channel.
Yes, yes. Shout out to the trailer reactions are so fire. I'm so excited to see the next trailer you're going to be reacting to, and the album reaction. That's going to be dope. Now, are you getting similar to your movies? Are there throwback albums or new albums? What's
No,
the
these are throwbacks. The people who are coming, which is just,
nice?
it's always a surprise what people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
really into. Like, can you do this? I'm like, well, I'm gonna try. But yeah, I reacted. I have one up already. I reacted to a punk rock 1960s album, I believe, or
Okay.
70s is one of those.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was great. And now I'm gonna be reacting to I think a 3 6 Mafia album, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
nice, nice. Well, listen, Tyra, since you're the album X, I just got a quick question for you. What would you rate this song, and would you be buying this album? All right, Peter
I
Gunn
already
there.
knew
Would you
what
be
you were
copping
gonna
that? Would you
say.
be copping that, Tyra? I mean, come on now.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Elliot. I knew you were going to play that. Like when that happened in the episode, I must have laughed. But it's life imitating art. That will
Yep.
pop right now.
Yep. Especially on TikTok. Like it don't have to have a clever hook. Well, clever. I don't say clever, but some of these TikTok, it's just a hook, right? There's no actual substance to what they're saying, and it goes bazillion streams on Spotify. But y'all check out Tyra. Send her those albums. I might have to go in my bag. Tyra, I wanted to sing you like a Radiohead album or something. See what you
Oh,
think of, because my music is so stretched out, from all
I'd be
different
here for it.
things. Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
just messaged me before I got on here. Like, can you react? Would you react to some Soundgarden? See, I'll get down with sound
Nice.
react to a little bit of everything. Like, I'm with it. I'm with it.
There you go. Well, speaking of reactions, Tyra, your first reactions, your thoughts on this third episode, Born to Die. Liked it, didn't like it, general take.
I love the episode. I had to most of the time, like I try to because when you're posting and you're trying to give out content, it's like a lot, it's about being first. So you
Mhm.
try to, process the episode as fast as you can and get your
Oh yeah.
video up. But I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
nah, I need to watch this like maybe two more times before I even attempt to post anything because it was a lot to process. But
Oh
I
yeah.
thought the episode was executed really, really well. And I felt like it was really intelligent. Well, of course, it's Atlanta, but
Right.
with the way that they tried to present it to us, I was like, wow, it's really incredible. Like it's making me sad. Like this is the last season. Like we're not gonna get,
I
it's not
know.
too many shows that go this intricate to,
Right.
just prove like they say stuff without saying it. And it's great. It was really great in this episode. I loved it.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. It will be a sad day. We got 7 more weeks, thankfully. But yeah, when Atlanta is officially over, it will be sad. I'm very curious on 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if he'll ever like want to revisit this series just to kind of see where the characters are. Of course, they're hella busy now, but yeah, it's going to be a sad day. But again, we got 7 weeks before with Van and Ern and Darius and Al. So, but yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Tyra. This was definitely kind of again, I talked about at the beginning, just interesting connections that we're getting with Al right now, and him just kind of yearning for something new and something more exciting, something that can get his juices flowing. And he's dipping his feet in that water called managing. And as we'll talk about later, that he might not be cut out for it because it's a cutthroat industry. And I don't know, Tyra, do you think he kind of felt bad in a way of like, I don't want to say taking advantage of these white kids, but we all know the hip hop industry and all industries kind of take advantage, and music in particularly, of Black culture. But do you think he kind of felt a little remorse in regards to this little taste of management, especially the way his artists end up going out?
He felt a ton of remorse. He felt remorse before he even got to the artist. Like, he's so uncomfortable in this episode. But I think the revelation of just hip hop and being in the industry and being a rapper and not really having the longevity that he thought of, the praise. Because it's I think that was like season, I don't know what season that was, where he really got into the depth of his career and he could barely walk down the street. It's just fans. Like, it was irritating him.
Right.
But now you got a whole new group of kids that just don't even know who he is. So it's like, your popularity is waning. It's just like, well, no, like, but I'm Paperboy. Like, it's like, yeah, no matter, whatever you are, you're never going to reach the degree of, what you could possibly do with this YWA.
I can't. Got to catch them all, Tyra. Got to catch them all. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think, and it is so crazy as far as just music in general. Like I said, I don't follow too many of the new artists, but I know it feels like there's a new song or new artist. I can't think of the young lady's name now, but You Think I Was Feeling You? That whole, you're right. Like, I wonder how long her window is going to be open, right? Like, she's popular now. I see her, performing at all these different concerts, but who's going to be the next artist who's going to come up with a catchy song and come and go? So it is like a kind of a rotating door with these artists, especially in today's society where we're scrolling and like, oh, this, you're hot for this week and then you're done the next week. It's a crazy cutthroat industry, I tell you.
Your Paperboy is from a different era.
Oh, did we lose it for a second?
MF Doom, or like he's from a certain generation. So it's just like, I'm expecting to have that same Nas, Jay-Z type of longevity. And it's like, no, this is a completely different, era. Of course, the TikTok, like, everything is really, really fast. So it's here today, gone tomorrow. It's about what's hot. And, having longevity in hip hop right now is not hot. That's why everybody, even the old heads, if you want to call them that, they have their hands in a little bit of everything. And they are,
right?
The money is, behind the camera and the managing and everything else. Exactly. It's not so much just being an artist. Everybody has a liquor, a brand, a club, or a show, power, all those, other things. Like, this is too much for him to process. It's like, what? But I'm Paperboy. Like, I'm popping. Like, yeah, right now, and you're waning, and you don't even realize it.
I'm thinking of, so for me, growing up, Jay-Z, my favorite artist. Listen to Eminem, listen to Nas, listen, obviously Tupac and Biggie, and in particularly Tupac. I wonder how Tupac, if he was, obviously we know what happened to him, but if he was still around today, do you think today's kids and the way the music landscape works, would you imagine TikTok, or I should say Tupac, on TikTok or Twitter or Instagram? Like, how would you think Tupac? Well, first off, I think if he was still alive, the hip hop industry would probably be completely different within itself. Yeah. But if he was alive, Tyra, do you think Pac would be on these streets, on these internets?
You would think, I would hope that, because we do have our lyrically inclined artists, like our J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar, but it's like, it's only J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and then it's like there's everybody else, and they may be, they're not as mainstream, they're really, really underground. I absolutely do not think that he would be as popular. Like, he would be that artist in the back, like, oh, he's dope, but nobody really purchased the albums. He's an underground artist. This is a completely different wave here. I absolutely do not like it. But like, it's not about how lyrically inclined you are, or what you're rapping about. It's about the beat and what you look like.
Exactly. Which is so crazy how again, just growing up, it was 3-4 singles on the radio. It was music videos on BET or TRL for like 6 months. That would consistently having that, and then you have the album on a CD. Which, Tyra, I mean, when CDs went obsolete, which was like 5 years ago, that still blows my mind. And then you would go on tour for 6 months to a year and do it all over again. But like you just said, it's now I mean, these kids, I don't even know, do people go on tour anymore, or is it just like
You
just
have to be
viral
like a
sensations?
certain type of artist to be able to go on tour, because
Yeah.
nobody wants the look of, the build up, oh, I'm going on tour. You can't even sell out. Or you see a lot of even the really great artists, they have to collaborate. Like, it's not just going to be me, it's going to be this
Hmm.
person and this person. So you literally
Right.
have to be one of the greats, like a Kanye West, to carry your own tour.
Yeah, this is an interesting comment. I wonder if Tupac will still be now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ice Cube growing up, I mean, obviously NWA and much different than he is now. But I think, as you just kind of mentioned, Ty, he pivoted, and as his episode showed, he had to pivot
Yeah.
if he wanted to stay relevant. I mean, yeah, he had to make those honey, the road trip movies and ride
Chief
along
Keef.
movies. Chief Keef. Being from Chicago, I mean, Chief Keef, yeah, that is an interesting career that he's had, and Soldier Boy and all them kids back in the day. Well, grown men now, but yeah, I don't know if Pac will go that Disney route. I think, if honestly, being honest, Cyrus, Pac to me was a good up and coming actor. I think he would have
Yeah.
maybe found his way into being more predominantly in theaters, but not more so the kid friendly movies, but more of those movies of his story and where he comes from and representing, his hood. I don't know if he would have went. I mean, I don't know. Can't
I don't
predict the
know.
future, but I don't see Pac on the Disney channel. Tyra, am I wrong in thinking that?
No, absolutely not. But it's just like, like Cube was Cube. Like, this is no
Yeah,
Vaseline Cube. We there yet
yeah,
now? Like, it's totally
yeah,
different. Like, it's crazy. But everybody, you have to pivot if you want to have longevity.
yeah. I agree. Eminem has been the only YWA who transcends the label due to his talent.
Mhm.
She might be right. Who are the white artists these days? Post Malone,
Mhm.
Jack Harlow, is that his name?
Jack Harlow.
Um, I don't know. Is Machine Gun Kelly, is he out in the streets like that? I know he's like a rock star now. I don't know.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing a whole lot. But there, it's fading. Like, it's not even about, artistry. It's just all it's just about what's trending and what you can do to trend to maybe sell. Now, I don't
Mm,
even think they really have longevity like that. If I'm speaking, like, it's I
right.
think it's a momentary moment to make money off of that artist and that
Yep.
single or that album. Like, it's all, feigning. They can be here this year and then next year you don't even know who they are, but as a
Right.
manager, you're gonna throw that one away and go get you another
Hmm.
one.
Well, yep, couldn't agree with you more. But speaking of money wise, Al, I mean, I think we would all take this offer. Tyra, it's a pretty easy $1 million to make, just to hang out with a white kid for a day and pretend to care. But my question is, if he has, if he thinks he's as popular as he is, then no, I don't need this measly $1 million. I don't need to spend time with a kid. I mean, again, it's easy money, but my
Mm.
question for you, Tyra, is the money not looking good for Al right now? Does he have to take these kind of alternative side hustle jobs to keep his lifestyle, sustain his lifestyle, I should say?
I don't think at this moment he does, but I think it's like, who I'm still, I'm paperboy now, but I'm Al first. I'm not turning
Mm,
down, $1 million. It
right.
sounds
That's
good.
true.
Like,
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you
like,
can't say
hey,
no to
I've
that.
come far. I ain't come that far now. I'm not turning down that kind of money.
Right.
Let me go. And, he walking up like, oh God, like that was funny. Like, he's assuming that, it's a gimmick. Like, oh, how do you go on stage and make it look so real? Like, no, this is
Hmm.
actually who I am. Yeah, go teach this to my son. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. $1 million, sure.
Right. You know what? Kind of think about it. I'm just thinking about season one, Paperboy. I wonder if, again, knowing that he from living in the hood and all that stuff, if he probably would have taken it, but I wonder if his ego would have kind of stepped in and been like, no, I'm not about to give your son some tips and tricks on how to be black. So I wonder if it would have been a conflict for him. But again, just makes me think of, and even Bunk says later in this episode that's not, to sustain this lifestyle ain't cheap. So I'm wondering if it is a matter of funds are maybe low, earns commission rate might have went up. He clearly is
It's
paying for dinner every time him and Darius hangs out. So I wonder if the
I
money
think
is a
it's
little
more
bit
of
low.
that greed. Like, I was
Yeah.
just, they kept repeating, this, that, and the third. If you want to sustain this lifestyle, now, if you
Hmm.
scale back, like, you scaling back from this lifestyle is not you scaling back to us. You can
Right.
live
Right.
a really, great life and be financially well off if you scale back. Like, the fact that he's, not willing to scale back is what's making him push. Well, yeah, I can use that $1 million. I have this car. Like, they have
True.
yet to show us, I mean, them actually living
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
There you
the
go.
last time we saw him was in season 2 when he was living in that condo or two part or whatever townhome. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very very curious, especially coming back from Europe. Is he?
Yeah.
Because I think it was in episode 2 when he called Ern. He said something about, did you call your realtor or something like that. So
Mhm.
to your point, I wonder if he's living in a mansion. Is he living
Yeah.
downtown Atlanta in a penthouse? I would like to see
I
that.
would
Let's kind of
love to
see.
see it because it would be crazy if he's come this far and Ern is the manager and you
Hmm.
don't have anything. But that just brought me back to that question that we had last season when he asked Ern, like what is my money looking like? Or,
Right,
because yeah, like, and I think
right.
we had Ern, I can't remember, he gave like a vague answer, like,
It was
it's
it's
good,
very
like your
questionable.
paper boy,
Yep.
like he gave the
Hmm.
manager answer, like,
Hmm.
what does your money look like? Is everything okay? We don't
That's a good
know.
question. That's a good question. Because that, you know what, thinking about that, I think that was episode 8 or 7 when he went on that kind of psychedelic trip with that girl that he was with in that episode, and Liam Neeson, where yeah,
Yeah.
he did ask, did you end up selling my rights? I think it was my rights. Do I have ownership to my rights? And he was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
his
But it was
masters, yeah.
yeah, he was like, yeah, you do. Yeah. It was like, Ern, are you doing one over on Al, which would be crazy. But yeah, it is. I would love, especially Darius. I just want to know what does Darius live with Al? Does he have his own place now?
I don't
Or
know.
is he just, working on a bargaining system and just going from couch to couch or house to house? But as we transition, we'll catch up with Al. Tyra, your thoughts on number one, this PR nightmare that we go over to Ern's situation. We see him at work. I think this is the same company that's going to be moving him out to LA, or maybe he's job hunting or has another job. But we see him at work, and we see the scenario. I think her name was Lauren Linney or something like that, where a white woman pulls a gun on a black kid who was just trying to do a fundraiser, and we hear
Mhm.
all these scenarios, Tyra, with why don't we show the black kid was maybe had a sketchy background, maybe the neighborhood was bad, coming up with all these reasons why. Your thoughts on this, Tyra? And it's actually a real story that I'm gonna share with everyone here in a bit, but your thoughts on just seeing them coming up with these lies and deception, and seeing these sharks in the water.
It was funny, but it was sad at the same time. Like I was laughing, but it was like, oh God, like this is real.
Yeah.
This is real. This is what they actually do because it's no coincidence that every time an incident happens, whether it's something as simple as this or it's, a police or like a vast of
Hmm.
situations, there's always a check into the background. Well, what neighborhood did he grow up in? Was he a
Yep.
part of any gangs? Like we could have this person donate this much to this charity. Like let's
Yep.
deflect. This is what actually happens. Like I thought it was like a little peek behind the curtain, but it's not so much now because I know we know well enough now to know that these are the meetings that are taking place, and it's really sick, even though
Yep.
it's funny. But I think most of us were looking over to Ern, and he was one of the few black people who were in the room. But I'm like, we are
Right.
way past the Ern who is the voice of reason to go like this isn't okay. It's just like, well, yeah, like how long are we gonna stay on this? I got stuff to do. Like
Right.
Ern is now manager Ern, like
Hmm.
totally and completely. There was nobody there to say like it's this is what it is. But I got a little, I was like, oh, I was laughing. And I had to catch, like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's the unfortunate reality, we see this on, when I'm rarely on Facebook. The only time I'm on Facebook is when I'm scrolling through or whatever, seeing people's birthdays. You see these videos all the time of
Yeah.
the what nows, and it shows little bars of what's going on. And it is sad. It is very sad, but it is the reality that we live in. And like you said, it's so crazy seeing these corporate entities and companies and PR firms that I think it's almost like being a lawyer, where
Yeah.
internally that this is bad. You represent someone that's clearly a racist, that clearly is in the wrong, but it's how you put food on the table, right? You got to kind of put your emotions and your morals aside to make sure your client is appeased, and you're making sure they're looking good. But like I said, this is actually a very interesting connection, because and this is even more sad, that you can literally Google white woman pulls a gun on black kid. And one of the first things that popped up was an article that I found back in 2019. I believe her name was Jerry. Almost identical situation, Tyra, where a kid was fundraising for his football team. He came to her front door and she pulled a gun on. It was him and like 3 other black kids between the age of 15 to 17. And lo and behold, she ended up getting prosecuted. I believe she got on parole for 3 years. But again, the sad reality is nowadays you can just type in something like that and you can find a story, which is
You
just
can
kind of
find
sad.
numerous stories. Those are
Yep.
do you have a permit to sell that water in front of your home stories? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yep. It is, and it's funny. I'm going to tie this into a little bit later, but we're going to see these two characters again later in the episode. The young man that got the gun pulled on him, and the young lady that pulled the gun on him. They do make an appearance a little bit later, which I found to be very, very interesting. But what I find to be even more interesting, Tyra, is that the fact that I didn't realize it until I saw it on this most recent rewatch that her book title was, if let me zoom in here, "Was I wrong? ... Question mark." And I think, let me zoom in. Is that her with a assault rifle, Tyra? Is that
Oh
a,
God.
oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that till I zoomed in. She has a full-on Arnold Schwarzenegger getting a chopper assault rifle.
Yeah, I didn't see the picture. I saw the title. Well, I didn't see really the title. I heard, them reference it
With
at the
yeah.
table. Like, I love Was I Wrong? It was a great read. I did not see
Oh
her
my
holding a whole assault
goodness.
rifle. That's crazy.
And yes, I did hear, like you said, I heard like, was I wrong kind of question her, but then the whole gun thing, like she's definitely obviously doesn't think she's wrong, which is another Karen mindset. But
Yeah.
oh my goodness, this show, Tyra, is
They are playing in our face.
oh my goodness. But after, like you said, Ern, he's just like, you know what, let me get out of here. Let me try to find, the next a new client for me, which again shows his growth that he's Ern's not his, or Al's not his only client. He has other people that he represents, which I wonder if we'll get to meet some of them later in the season. But we do get him on the hunt in this season, or in this episode, Tyra. And I just want to know, before we get to D'Angelo, did you think we were going to actually see him in this episode? Did you think there was a chance that we were going to actually see the real D'Angelo?
I did not. With this show, I don't put anything past him, because Justin Bieber is not just like, I thought I was gonna be absolutely surprised if we did. Once we got the actual visual and the little costume, I was like, and he was trying to harmonize over there. I was like, no, that's not him. But you never know what you're gonna get with Atlanta. Yeah. So there could be a chance, and you could have went in there and it could have been a white man with braids. We do not know.
I mean, we got Liam Neeson last season, which was a surprise to me. With Michael Vick in season 1, and it was and Cat Williams in season 2, which he's going to be making his return, I think, next week. So yes, I was kind of like, are we on? Because I haven't seen. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen D'Angelo in probably 10 years. I think
really?
he's still. Is he still touring? Is he the blue blood of R&B and soul?
But no, he is getting to the episode. Like he everything he does is on his own accord. So as far as like touring, you might get like a sneak, like it's like a once in a lifetime. Like, oh, we got like kind of like Lauryn Hill. Like if they're touring, we got to get out there now, because he might not tour for another 5 years. So
right. Man, I didn't know he was still making music. Maybe I'll Google his next where I can find him. But speaking of finding someone, I found someone for us in the back room, Tyra, a returning guest who my man is always killing it, crushing it. Got some great reactions he dropped yesterday that I got a chance to check out, and excited to bring him back to the channel, Tyra. I think you know this individual. I'm talking about my man B. Avery from Just My Opinion Reviews. What's going on, B?
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing?
Hey man, like I told Tyra, we trying to find that $1 million, like Earn or our boy Paperboy. B, just trying to find someone to walk up to me and offer me $1 million.
I feel you. I think I would have been a bit more happy and more enthusiastic than he was, if somebody dropped that many zeros. You know what I'm saying? So
no doubt. Well, hey man, how's your Sunday going? How we doing today, man?
We're doing all right, man. Late start, ran a couple of errands, got a little workout in, cooking some food right now. Had to wash my hair, got my do-rag on. That's why I got this cap on, because I got
you didn't want to wear your do-rag?
Right.
I mean, it's on, it's under here, but I didn't want to, look like bruh man from the 5th floor. You know what I'm saying? So I had to find a beanie or a cap or something like that. But I'm chilling, man, enjoying this day. What's going on, Demina X337? How you doing? And I got my show later on. I'm looking forward to House of the Dragons and everything else coming out next week. And got my computer back, so I'm I'm back up and running, and it's running smoother. Still got some I can still make it better, but it's running better. And I'm happy. I'm happy. Except for one part. I can talk to y'all backstage about that, especially Tyra. But for the most part, I'm good, man. Thanks for asking.
Hey, that's good, man. And you know, me and Tyra, we're about like 10 minutes to the episode, and we're gonna definitely get your thoughts here, B. But again, I always like to have my guests introduce themselves or reintroduce themselves to the audience, man. So the stage is yours. Let them know who you are, B, and where they can find your great content, my friend.
Yeah, man. It's B Avery, your boy Brandon Keith Avery, with just my opinion reviews. Information that I'm sure is in the description box of this video. You can follow me on social media. You know, by like Elliot and Tara, I just talk about what I'm passionate about, specifically movie reviews, spoiler movie reviews, series reviews, weekly movie news roundup show. I'm recapping, some of the TV shows I watch each week. I do trailer reactions, as Elliot was just talking about. If I'm lucky, I will get an interview or something like that, and just having fun with my martial arts and comic book entertainment. I collab with Elliot and Tara all the time. I love these people. They're fun to work with, and I'm happy to be here today, man, to talk about this Atlanta.
Yeah.
Quick question for you, B. And Tyra, I know you're a horror fan like me. You did a reaction yesterday, B, to Knock at the Cabin. Tyra,
Yes.
did you see that trailer yet? I don't know. You might be doing a reaction to it soon.
No, I did. I think I want to do a reaction to it.
Okay, so I'll wait to hold your thoughts when you make your video. But as a horror fan, B and Tyra, and I'm a M. Night fan, I know he's 50-50. But I'm looking forward to that film. And I saw your reaction, B. It looks look like you're excited for it too.
I'm very much excited. I cannot wait for February 3rd to get here.
Yeah.
Man,
Yes,
it looks pretty serious. And I'm really liking the cast with Dave Bautista.
He's doing his thing, man.
I love him. I mean, I don't mean this in any shade, but he's not the best actor in the world, but he's still very entertaining. He's still very entertaining, and he's very humble. And for him to be in this type of picture, coming from Drax, which is some people's favorite, not others, I'm very, very intrigued just with his character, and also just the plot itself. I mean, you have his character one. The plot is crazy, and then it's M. Night.
Yep.
M. Night, like you said, right. He's always 50. I like his last movie. I happen to like.
Oh, I did not like that.
Yeah, I remember. I remember we was on polar opposites on that one. I like and he has more hits. He has more wins than misses for me. I mean, he did have a streak of BS around that Lady in the Water time.
Yeah,
but man, he can make a trailer, man.
He can.
Them trailers, you'd be like, I want to see it right now. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't wait to Tyra to check it out as well.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be all in that reaction.
Well, I looked at the the cast and the lineup, and I just saw Dave Bautista. I was saying I actually loved him as an actor. I think he's coming far. I loved his performance in Army of the Dead, just based off of him alone, and it being M. Night Shyamalan. I was here for that. But cabins are always an issue. So I would be
never go to a cabin. Never. I'm never going to a cabin in my entire life. I'll tell you that right now. I need a cabin episode of Atlanta. Speaking of, I wonder if they'll give us a special cabin episode. But speaking of Atlanta, B, me and Tyra, like I said, we're about 10 minutes in the episode, but just before we catch you up to where we're at, man, just your general take on this third episode. And as I asked Tyra, B, are you copping this album, bro? How you feeling about this song? And then this
yes.
It's a hit, B. It's a hit, man.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
But your general take on this episode before we get into your thoughts on where we're at.
I liked episode 1 and 2 more than 3. That's not to say that it was bad. It was still enjoyable, but there was just some things that flew over my head, and I'm just like, man, is it just me? Do I need to go back to school? Or is this meant to be vague and kind of like you got to read between the lines, which I like. I did enjoy it. There was a lot of truth to it, with the YWA, and I kind of heard y'all earlier talking about exploitation, and I do agree with that 100%. But I liked it overall. And Tara, how you doing, ma'am?
How are you?
Pretty good.
Listen, B, I'm gonna toss it to you first, man. Our boy Al is coming into the studio, and we talked about it a little bit briefly as far as like this hip hop industry is just so different. It's not about substance, it's not about bars, it's just about a hook. As we see them in the booth, and even Yodel Kid says, this track is dead, just saying that he pretty much killed it. He just laid the bars down, and it's a million hits on TikTok already. But your thoughts be on Al. We talked a little bit about it briefly, but just your thoughts on Do you think he's at a point now in his career where he's trying to get out of the game, or he's trying to go into pivot over to just being a Dr. Dre and this be his Eminem, or just your thoughts, man, on him and his hip hop influence or lack of at this point of his career?
I don't understand Al. He is tripping big time. Like, bruh, what are you doing? Like, I understand the dude's approach after your show when the episode was opened up was kind of weird, kind of suspect. You're like, okay, what do you want? But if somebody is offering you $1 million to babysit, what's the problem? What's the issue? I would have been up 7 a.m. every morning with the coffee, with my notepad. Hey, yo, the kid, let's do this.
Let's get it.
And
Yeah.
he's all soaking around like, oh, I'm looking for Benny, your daddy, and like it's just it was crazy. I mean, like, even if look, money is not everything when it comes to your career, your job. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, a lot of people do have high-paying, lucrative jobs, but they hate their job. And I can understand people wanting to take a lower paycheck to be free or do whatever you want to be your own boss. But man, this was the easiest $1 million to make in the world. Oh, dude was like, oh yeah, man, my dad's just extra. You know what I'm saying? You can just chill and collect this check. Man, I would have been over there playing solitaire on my phone, not saying nothing to nobody. So prior to this episode, I feel you as far as Al, just like, yeah, maybe this is not what I all hoped it to be. Right. I can understand that. But yeah, he tripping. He tripping.
I agree. Tyra, your thoughts on B and Al and him not having that pep in his step? Do you think it's just a matter of he knows, like, I don't want to be around these white kids. It's gonna be, he's probably gonna end up saying the N-word around me. I'm gonna end up slapping one of them, getting sued. So maybe that was his, like, damn, this ain't going to end well.
I didn't even think of that.
Your thoughts on this
Al, like, you got to remember, like, way back from season 1, Al was never like gung-ho for the career, or just like, this was more persistence on Ern's part, like the singles popping and we should let's go, and this was he had to be pushed into this. Overall, in my opinion, I don't think he ever, and just from the very beginning, from season 1, Al has always given pushback. Like, he's never been happy, and I think it was just supposed to be, oh, we're grinding now, but once the money starts to come in and we're touring and everything's okay, then he will be happy. And I just think it's like, well, I'm still not satisfied. I don't think it was about the $1 million. Like, this is easy, but it's just like, this is what it's coming to. Like, Al is just unhappy overall as a person. Like, I don't even think it's just solely the rap career or lack thereof, or Benny or the $1 million. He just wants nothing to do with this because there's something inward in him. He's just not satisfied with what's actually happening at all in his life.
No, I agree. And I mean, you talk about an ego check. Listen, B and Tyra, if I'm Paperboy at this point in my career, we're on tour, got albums, whatnot, and you go into this room and you got these two, wannabe rappers, don't even know who you are. I mean, that's like an eye-opening kind of moment of just like in his career, where it's like a paradox switch in him. Like, wait, y'all don't. I'm Paperboy. Like, wait,
Paperboy,
who me? V is like, oh yeah, I used to listen to you when I was a kid. I mean, that speaks a lot, Brandon. Do you think at that moment where he's just kind of looking at himself like, damn, what? Am I blue blood now? Am I becoming the modern day blue blood?
Yeah, I feel you, but I'm on the fence, man. I'm 50-50 because it's a true fork in the road. I mean, and either path works, whether he goes right or left. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, if you go right, you just you do get that acknowledgement, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not as big as I thought I was. Maybe I just I need to humble myself and realize what I forgot his name, the character that's about to come onto the screen says next. But at the same time, that could be used as, setting some fire under your ass to get going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, hey, I thought I was at this level, at this status. I'm obviously not. I have more room to grow. Because I mean, you can be famous and unfamous. You can be known and unknown. I mean, that's what underground means. You can be the hottest underground rapper, artist, performer, but when it comes to mainstream, you just may not be there, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with being a D-list actor, a C-list actor, a B-list. Everybody can't be A. And so Al
on the list, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least he's on there, and you
Yeah.
can have for example, Keenan Thompson. How long has he been in the game? 30 years.
Least. I mean, I was watching him in Nickelodeon,
Right.
all that back in the day.
But he is
Good burger.
definitely not A-list. But
Right.
but he still has a respectable career. You know what
He
I'm
just
saying?
hosted the Emmys, didn't he? A couple
Right.
weeks ago?
He just made the Hollywood Hall of Fame like
Right.
in
Right.
2022. So I'm just saying, like, there's
Good
nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. So you can either use that to, kind of acknowledge where you're at, or just use it like, okay, hey, I want to go from D to C to C to B to B to A, etc. So I'm on the fence. I guess I don't know.
No, I was
Nice.
having an
What's that?
issue with the episode because from the time that he started, like I'm not sure how long his career has been exactly. That was I was trying to figure out, like, from where they
Right.
started to, them coming back, like how long, because your popularity, like maybe he was, the it dude or whatever, or maybe he's just been kind of underground and just more the low level, not so mainstream rappers. I'm not totally sure. I'm like, is this because you aren't who you thought you were? Or is your popularity waning because so many years have went by and you're just you're not popping like that now? Because a new generation is coming in. Like, I don't know how long his career has been.
And that's the fun thing, and also kind of confusing thing, is we don't know what timeline this story takes place. Like, obviously, if we go from 2016 to when it started, and from there, it's like it's a toss up. Like, even in this episode, we see. I'm thinking in my head when Gas 90, the guy that was the leader of their YWA club, he said that Blue Blood had died 5 months ago, but we knew in episode 1 it was 3 months till they found out. So it's a 2-month gap between 1 and 3. And then we see Yodel Kid's girl is pregnant and she has the kid by the end of the episode. So at least months has passed by, and it's Grammys, which is normally in February. So hell, this episode alone, we probably went 8 months from the beginning to the end. So yeah, it's like, so the timelines is just all over the place in this show, which is always fascinating nonetheless. But there was a moment, Tyra, that I'm curious on how you feel about Al when Benny, I think his name was, like, oh yeah, you the guy my dad bought, which was kind of like, what? You bought? No, I'm not no slave.
Yeah.
What do you mean bought? And again, this ego. It's like his ego went from, I'm about to come in here and make this million, about to come. These kids gonna probably want an autograph. And again, first things like, who are you? Oh yeah, you to do my dad back. You can go ahead and just sit down. I mean, the ego has to be checked at that point, Tyra.
He like, this whole episode just gave him a big slice of humble pie. Not only in this room, but the next room he went into. Like, you're thinking, of course, as you should, like, I'm that dude, but to some people you're just Al. You're it made me think of the old movie with Richard Pryor, Toy, when they purchased when he got purchased. And I knew that. I was like, you are being purchased. Like, what like, this is what it is, Al. Either take it or roll with it. Like, you're already here. Make your meal and go on about your business.
Yeah, I agree. And the question I have for you all and everyone in the chat, again, appreciate you all tuning in. Like, share, comment, subscribe to Tyra and Brandon's channel. Starting with you, Brandon, I'm just curious, bro. If you were in a YWA situation, B, and you had the options to choose between the hottest artist on the streets, which is, Rick Moranis, Benny, and Yodel Kid, who are you signing, B? I need to know.
I probably have to go with Yodel Kid.
Yodel Kid? Tyra, who are you going with? Who are you going with?
I'm going with Benny. Yodel Kid has a drug problem. Right away. Like, he's reading. Oh, Paper Boy. I know who you were. Like, you're high. Nah, I'm going Benny. At least he's sober.
You're right. I forgot about that.
That's a good point, Tyra. But when you say that, then I just think about this, like, the potential. I mean, how can we say no to that, Tyra? I mean, it's just hot fire. I think we heard a little bit of Benny later in the episode when he's spinning that to school. Those bars ain't as hot as my man Yodel Kid.
Hot fire, Elliot.
Hot fire. Dylan. You gotta sign Yodel Kid. He went out like a legend. Born to die. But let us know in the chat who you guys are signing between these three phenoms in the game. Just killing it. But going back to our boy Al, or not Al, but Ern. Now I know B, you're in Texas, and Tyra, I think, are you? I don't know. Don't give us your address, but
I'm in Texas.
Okay. Do you all have a Riley's down there, or is it Checkers? Because I know they're like under the same umbrella. Or do you guys not have any of them?
We got a Checkers.
Yeah,
we got Checkers.
So for me, I'm in Missouri, St. Louis. They have a ton of Rileys out here, but I'm from Chicago and they have a ton of Checkers out there. So have you guys ever ate at a Checkers?
Yeah, it's not popping.
Yeah, but say it's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, then yeah, I definitely agree. But anyway, I say all that to say, we see our boy Ern goes up to this Riley's, which is a front for the D'Angelo experience. Which right off the bat, my man goes in there and sees this man straight from the '70s with his perm and a Jet magazine. Your thoughts, B, on this craziness, blood on the ground, numbers on the wall, just some absurdity, bro.
Yeah, man. This is where I was entertained but lost. Because I don't know if Ern was in there for 4 days or a week, because he did say 2 different things, and I'm just like, okay, man, what's the cheat code? What's the password? Like what's going on? Where's everybody else? I don't know, man. It was interesting. It was weird, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. I really didn't. I was just I was so excited to find out though, because he pulls up to a rally. He's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be meeting D'Angelo. You know what I'm saying? Like the artist, and even when he goes around the corner, they have the woman sign, but then they have a D'Angelo sign upside down. I'm like, man, what kind of freaky cooped up stuff is this? You know what I'm saying?
Which even speaks more to Riley's quality of food, that no one's gonna go there. Like no one's ever gonna go there, so they can have this operation running there.
I didn't even think of that, man. And so I'm just like, man, what type of shenanigans are going on? I'm like, okay, is he gonna die? And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I was laughing when he lost it, when he asked for the water,
Sunny water,
and it was just, I'm like, really? It's just in there. Like it was just ridiculous. It was. I didn't know what was going on, bro. But yeah, and Ern was just a little too comfortable for me too. Just like he walked in there like it was a normal waiting room. I would have been like, what kind of establishment
in their Atlanta
is this?
B? I guess it's normal to them, right?
Yeah,
episode 1, where you can go into a dark room and be trapped in a mall for 6 years. This is part of Atlanta, I guess.
He just treated it like it was normal. Like, oh, there's the bench. It was a match. Yep. On the ground. No, and so I was like, where is this going? So yeah, it was. I was excited to find out.
Same here. Before we get to you, Tyra, just a couple people in the chat just wondering who they were going to sign. So we got some Rick and Rockin', Rick Miranda's going on here. Of course, yeah, Dylan all day. Rick, okay, we got some Rick and Rockins here. I'm very surprised we got some Rick Miranda's fans in here. But Tyra, your thoughts on this front of a Riley's that we see is actually just a D'Angelo experience?
Oh man, I would never be one to be like, I knew exactly what was going on. No, I had to go watch it, and I watched it again, and then I watched it again. Like I felt like everything that was happening, because literally once he stepped in, Lord behold, it's a Riley's, it's a whole front anyway. But this was all a testament to Ern's ego from the very beginning. And what he was willing to do, because nobody sent him. Nobody at that table said, "We need you, Ern, to go sign D'Angelo." Like, first of all, that's already an issue in itself. If anybody knows about D'Angelo and his artistry, like he's the last person to want to be signed ever. But he just took it as, like, oh, well, yeah, of course, I'm Ern. I'm that manager. I'm that dude. If anybody can sign and find D'Angelo, it's going to be me. And he just had something to prove, and he showed the dedication he was willing to go through to prove his point. We already have this sign. Like every instant of him coming in here was turn around, go back. What are you doing? Like this isn't cool. Like, but he's just so determined to prove a point and get to D'Angelo. Like, oh, it's blood on the ground. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sit here. Like, and then when you go in there, it's like time is standing still. Not only with the guy guarding the door with the hairstyle and the Jet magazine, but once we peek behind the curtain, as far as the technology, the CDs, the TV, everything was just a standstill. But the fact that he was just so dedicated that I'm gonna get to D'Angelo and get the D'Angelo experience or whatever, I'm gonna put myself through all of these things. Like the Sunny water took me out, because I remember when they had that test for waters, and it was like one of the worst. Like, this isn't spring. Like, I'm about to die of dehydration here. I've been sitting here and grew out my facial hair. It looked like Ern had been there a month. She's like, I'm not that thirsty. I'm not drinking. Like, he just got so frustrated, and then he realized, like, hey, we are all D'Angelo. Like, and then that's when, the door finally opened once he had that, revelation. And it just had me like thinking about just the journey that D'Angelo went on as an artist, and just that whole transition that we had Earn go through, and however long he was there. And then he realized like, oh, I am D'Angelo. Let me experience D'Angelo. Like I don't know how much you guys got into D'Angelo as an artist in correlation with the episode.
I'll be honest.
Me.
Yeah, but I'm very aware of the. Well, I was probably 10, 9 when he was like, Brown Sugar and all that stuff during that time. But I didn't know, like, I never really followed his career, because I think some people even mentioned in the comments, and you even mentioned it. He's one of those, again, kind of, he never was. It's kind of low key. He was never
gonna make me start a music channel. So. Well, D'Angelo always, just to tie it in, he always modeled himself. He wanted to be like Prince. Like, he wanted to be one of those artists. And anybody knows, like, the neo soul, the songs that he put out, everything that he put out, he, wrote everything. He did the instrumentation on everything. And he, that was his thing. It's like, I want to be one of those, Prince he was the last artist. Like, he was all about freedom, and I want to create. I don't want to put a number on it. Like, he just wanted all of his music to, be his music. I'm doing everything. Why is everybody else getting paid? And I think he got that stardom, and he just didn't like it. He didn't like the sexualized persona they were trying to put out, and y'all trying to push me into this direction. I just want to be free to create. He was more on the level of like Lauryn Hill, like I just want my albums and my music to be my music. It needs to be genuine, but they wanted it to be quick and processed, and he kind of just fell like under the pressure, and he sunk into all this depression, the coke, the drugs, and the jail stints, to where he looked like a completely different artist. But he had he left the label, he dropped everything, and he went and got himself some help and rehabilitated himself. And then he came back, and he gave us that album. Well, if you're a fan like that, I think we were all hoping, like, after the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, one day she was gonna give us that, that really great album. But he was actually able to return, and he came back and kind of blindsided the industry. He got Grammys, and it was a really big thing at the time.
When are you hosting the biopic? When's that coming out?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she brought that down.
It was a really big thing at the time. So when he was able to come back and like, hey, he was a completely different artist. It wasn't anymore, how does it feel, all pectorals out, D'Angelo, like, I'm not, finna, get my body, like, I'm not about that. It's about the music. He had a different sound, and it's kind of like he came back with the vengeance, and he no longer was, that. But as far as creating, he is the last person that would ever want to be signed, or like, I need a manager, or I need to, hit these plateaus. Like, no, I want to be of, creative influence the way I want to do it. So the fact that Earn was, like, if anybody, like, I'm Earn, like, I can sign D'Angelo. Like, you see, like, once he gets into the room, it's like, I just thought, somebody needs to come along who was, down with his craft, maybe have a little bit more patience. I'm that dude. It's like, no,
6 days.
It's not about that. It's about my art. This is art. I don't need a manager. This is more than me being tied to the people that were all in that room with you. That's the last thing I want. And it's just not connecting with Earn at all. But he thought, if I sit here, I'm getting D'Angelo, because once he sees me, I'm Earn. He's gonna jump on board.
Listen, y'all, this is the education of Tyra over here, that she's dropping this knowledge on us, and this is why she's here, y'all. This and it even puts more perspective to the episode. And again, this makes you think of, Earn and Al have both gone on these kind of weird, obscure scavenger hunts, if you want to call it that, on these journeys. So it is very, very interesting that you brought all that up. And again, Earn's kind of not pettiness, but like, I'm gonna prove y'all wrong, because we know that was like his big come up, was doing that. So really well said, Tyra B. What you think about all that, man? That's
amazing.
Like,
you took the words out of my mouth.
Has, produced and wrote on some really great things. Like, he's really been, an instrument for a lot of people, like, especially back in the day, like, very, creative in that way. So just Earn, as soon as Earn was like D'Angelo in the phone, he's like, I was like, really, Earn? That's what you're gonna go? Like, absolutely not. So I knew we were in for some crazy stuff this episode.
Well, the question I got for you, Brandon, is foreshadowing. Are we seeing Al in his career again? The Blue Bloods out there, D'Angelo, is he going to just kind of go up to obscurity, or is he going to strive to be the next Yodel Kid in a sense?
I hope not.
Yeah,
my short answer, I don't know if I want to see Al go in that direction. That would really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
I know his eyes are open, and I want him to make a transition or some type of shift. This is the last season, but I definitely don't want him to go down the Yodel
Oh,
Kid
they
road.
going in them comments.
Mm.
They show did like he didn't like any aspects of the industry, like because he was in a relationship, had a son with Angie Stone, and they were like, yeah, you can't even bring her to industry parties on red carpets. It was just all about his image and no longer about the music. And he like ran for the hills, like I don't want to do this anymore.
Wow. Well,
And then it
again,
just, goes to turn with, earning the episode, like
yeah.
losing his way so much that it's no longer about the industry or what anybody's giving up. Like he's kind of losing himself. Like, I'm not about that. It's about the deals, getting to the money. Yeah, like you're not D'Angelo. Okay, bye, I'm gone. Like I don't care.
You know what, Tyra? I mean, again, this makes me think that I think this is Al's journey. I think we're gonna see him become the next D'Angelo and just kind of just be on his own, maybe cut earn and just do whatever he wants to do on that day. I think you might be hitting on something there, Tyra, and we might be seeing the future of our boy Al, which that would be interesting to see him doing like this whole D'Angelo experience, the Al experience, and seeing who would show up. It was only, I would imagine, only a couple people that's done the D'Angelo experience. There was only 5 people that did the Blue Blood experience. So maybe this is what we're seeing slowly. Al's career is becoming this kind of once hot, now the new generation don't even know who he is. So very, very interesting stuff, which I mean is a perfect transition to seeing where he's at now. I mean, at first, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna start with you, B, as far as I thought it was a pyramid scheme, bro. When he went to this YWA meeting,
Oh yeah,
I was just waiting for them to be like, it's gonna be $5,000. Put your deposit down right now. But now they actually got a little bit more information. But your thoughts, B, on this YWA, gotta catch them all. My man giving him, passing the cookies over to Al. Your thoughts on this whole scene, man?
Man, you took the worst part out of my mouth. I'm like, this is a pyramid scheme. When they're gonna ask for the money, the deposit, very, very interesting. But it was so much truth that was revealed in this episode. And I swear he looks like MC Hammer to me. That's the vibes I'm getting. MC Hammer and Deion Sanders. But I liked everything he had to say. They had valid points.
Yeah.
He's like, bro, what did you do? You sold out an arena. What you gonna do? Sell out a soccer stadium? Come on now, because those are huge, and you're not gonna be able to do that. And so this was another humbling experience for Al right here. It was something else he said. I was laughing, about the cookies or whatever. Oh yeah, but he was like, he gave him the 3 bullet points. He was like, was it Chief Keef or
Chief Keef,
yeah. Yeah. And then he was like the next level, and then he's like, then you're gonna be teaming up with Ice Cube and Are You There Yet Part 5. And I was like, damn, like he really did
talked about that earlier.
Break it down. Like that's
Yeah.
I was like, that is like your climax, the height that you reach, and you just gonna plateau at that point in time. So I was like, this dude has a point. I'm thinking that he's trying to get $5,000, like you said, but he really over here dropping some jewels. You know what I'm saying? So It was very enlightening. I loved it.
There's some people in my comment section that said that the YWA program reminded them of a Dre for Eminem, not Jermaine Dupri, but Usher to Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake and Timberland and all that stuff. So there's a lot of YWA situations that we've seen in reality.
Yeah.
But Tyra, your thoughts on this meeting, this situation, and a lot of the nuggets they drop, especially this one here, which was very true in regards to who do you think out of this picture here is the top selling artist and 1 billion streams or whatnot. But your thoughts on this presentation?
I loved it. I thought it was so smart. I loved it. Once again, we have Al eating that humble pie because I was interested to see, like y'all, I was like, okay, Al, he's trying to take your money. This is a scheme because prior to this, we have him, Al, like, I'm trying to invest, get into some real estate, some stocks and bonds. And he's like, that ain't going to get you no money. I'm like, well, dang, okay, well, if that's, all of that is wrong, then what do you have that you feel like is the right thing? And it's like, oh, wow, okay. I was very much surprised to see it take that turn, but it was very interesting. It was a lot of truth, like y'all said. Like there no lies in that room were told. Like in the Al is steady, giving pushback. It's like everything's like, but I'm Paperboy. Like I understand that,
Pretty
but you have
streets.
to understand like the lifespan of a rapper is really, really short. And that's not just as career wise, because we have him say, you're gonna do this and do that, and then what for you to, end up like Blue Blood. Eventually he was putting out music. I didn't know he had an album out. Like he's not
Right.
being pushed. Eventually, this is what happens. Like it happens to the best of us. So before that happens, you need to, join the club with everybody else. And Al is just like, but I don't want to do this. Like
Right.
I shouldn't have to do this. And of course, you shouldn't, but this is,
That's how you got, sustain that
this is,
lifestyle.
this is the situation.
Right.
So when he says like that really made him pause. Like, so it's either this or end up like Blue Blood. It's like, well, dang, I don't want to, I love Blue Blood, but I don't want to end up like him. So let me see, exactly what's going on. Or even them talking about doing it for the culture, or people who did it for hip hop. Those people, aren't really revered, or that's not going to bring you anything.
Right.
And it had me think about not only just people who are, lyrically inclined, who do it for the, our most deafs and our, all those great people who aren't, put on as high of a pedestal, but even just the generation that we are in as far as hip hop. A lot of these artists who are doing it for their city, putting on for their culture, they're winding up shot and dead in their city. On their, on their block, in their
some young lady died the other day. I saw who
the
new artist.
P&B Rock, like you were, doing it for your culture, and then most of these people are, being taken out in their own city by their own people. So it's like, we need to figure out something else.
I couldn't have said about it myself, Tyra. B, your thoughts on it again. And it is so funny. We talked about it earlier, B, and I just want to get your thoughts on it. Tupac. We talked about Pac earlier. If he was still alive, obviously I think the hip hop industry would be a lot differently. But someone had asked us a question like, do we think Pac would have went down that Ice Cube route? Would we have seen him in Disney movies, family friendly movies, or do you think Pac would have been true to himself and keeping it real? How do you think Pac would be if he was still here?
I think he would have been true to himself and kept it real. And I don't mean that against Ice Cube either. Like he didn't. But I don't think I could have saw Pac going down that road. That just would have been a bit too weird to me.
There is that question of, because it's like, even with Cube, because I know that's more the comparison, but like Ice Cube couldn't be, Ice Cube from NW, that you couldn't be that forever. Just like we see the same things with, Ice-T and going, like eventually you mature. And if you're living this kind of lifestyle and you're not, Ice Cube in Compton anymore, like you're Ice Cube and wherever, the lavish lifestyle that you're living. So of course it will be disingenuine for you to just continue to try to give off that persona. But I think it's nice for even Mr. Babysitter, it's nice for them to even just wake Al up, for it to be like, you can't, sadly, you cannot rap forever. But once again, if we can scale back from this lifestyle, you would very much be well off, and you could be okay and maintain your everyday. But he doesn't want to scale back from whatever this lifestyle is.
Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy. Again, you talked about it earlier, Tyra. I mean, all the OGs are investing in alcohol companies, tech companies, obviously clothing is a big thing. So yeah, you got to definitely diversify your portfolio, or you're going to end up, forgotten about and just known as just the hip hop artist that didn't really expand himself. And Zia brings up a good point. And I agree with this, actually, that Pac probably take that Snoop Dogg route where he's respected. He's the OG. He's everyone's uncle. Now, to be fair, Zia, I think, we've seen Snoop do some, very kid-friendly things as well. Not as much as as much as Q, but I think I don't know, B, go ahead. What you think about this route? You think Pac would have took the route?
I can't relate Pac and Snoop together. Those are just two different people to me, two different mindsets. I can't compare those two. That's why I was shaking my head like that. Pac, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna stop right there.
And then it wasn't even mostly about him diversifying at this particular moment, because they're not saying, you need to do this, that, and the third. It's more so like you are making half the amount of money that you could ever make if you became a manager. So you should just do this now before you end up washed up and you're looking like where all my fans went and you're forgotten. Just go ahead and be the manager and get you a YWA.
Gotta catch them all. Was you gonna say something else to be?
No, I was just gonna say, man, Pac is 10 times more conscious
B's
than
like, no.
Snoop. Like, I mean, I like Snoop, but Snoop, will try to be. Snoop has a mindset of like, hey, why don't you like me? What did I do? How can we be friends? Pac is not. Pac is like, F you. You ain't F with me. I'm not effing with you. So I
Yeah.
just
You
I
know,
can't compare those.
I'm a big Snoop fan. I used to follow a lot of his, Doggy Style and all that stuff. I think when he got that murder case on him, I think that's when, and obviously he was still hip, in the streets and 187 on, but I think that really was an eye opener for him as far as just kind of, damn, I don't really want to maybe be in jail. Like I have potential to be, the godfather of hip hop as he's titled now.
Getting into
So,
these hip hop conversations. Don't make me start on this
oh
chat.
man, we might have to, Ty. We might have to have another stream again too.
Like y'all getting more into Snoop and the murder and him maturing. Like y'all
Yeah.
got to remember that first Tupacalypse. Now those first albums were really, really revolutionary, but not as much was moving. So later we got more of "Let Me See You Toss It Up," and not saying that he wasn't still trying to make statements, but Pac left that whole like he was rallying, more of the Black Panthers and the go back and listen to that first album, the first two, and then later pivot back to All Eyes on Me and Me Against the World. All it's a different sound, it's a different flow.
Right.
So he had already switched up. Like I
That's
love
true.
this.
That's
I
true.
want to be revolutionary, but I also want to sell albums.
So yeah. Man, I'm telling you, I would love to be, I know Tyra, your favorite Marvel, the MCU is your thing. I would love to be in a multiverse where Pac is still alive, Biggie's still alive, Big Pun is still alive, and just all those OGs. I would just be so curious to know where they would be in their careers right now. So curious.
Man, yeah.
So curious.
Yeah.
But anyway, we see our boy Al. This he goes on this adventure to try to sign Benny, only to find out that Bunk's already signed him. Which
Cutthroat.
I was just about to say, do you think that he almost did an earn thing where it was kind of like, I'm about to prove y'all wrong. I'm about to go ahead and sign this other dude, which in this case was Yodel Kid. Tyra, did you feel the same thing, that he felt a little bit kind of, undermined or kind of not played, because it is, he still got information from Bunk, and Bunk didn't say that, hands off of Benny. It's just kind of a free agent type of situation.
I just don't think he realizes the severity like that. I think that kind of woke him up. I think this ties in with his relationship with Earn also, because he just doesn't know how the mind of a manager and the mind of an artist
what
is
survives.
different. It's, it's cutthroat. So like, I came here for Benny. Like, I already signed. Like you thought like, no, if I see somebody and they're up for grabs and there's a money opportunity, if you don't get to him first, I'm going to do it. So it was kind of like, because you saw the huff and puff. It was like, oh man. And then I was like, I guess I'll go with old Yodel Kid over here.
Right.
And Yodel Kid is just like you can tell that he's in bad shape, and Al he can very much. What is all this Snoop Dogg pancakes? He got pancakes and syrup, like
hot sauce. Listen, man, he got his foot in everything.
Saw like it was like last resort. But even with Benny, like he's trying to push himself to do things that he doesn't want to do, and it's not true to his spirit, and it's showing. It's like, I might as well give me a while. Let me go ahead and sign Benny. And he was even more disappointed. Like, oh, I gotta go with Yoda Kid. But like, he's high. Oh, all right, come on, let's go since you're here. And he was over it. What I was interesting to see, because I saw that we, like you said, we did that time jump. Like, were we gonna be true to a manager? Like most managers, it's about the money and about the artistry. But as we see with a lot of these younger artists passing away from, overdose and all of these type of things right now, like they don't, nourish them in that way. Like they're not taking care of their artists mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just the money side. So I was like, let me see if we're going to see. I didn't know that he was going to be, gone at the end of the episode. I just wanted to see if Earn was going to be that type of manager to go, well, we got to clean you up first. And I need you to be here, which is why I said I would go with Benny. I need you to be here, so we can make this music. But once again, just like with all those XXXTentacion, the Juice WRLDs, once you do pass away, the money goes up, the streams, the merchandise, and there's all of these people like I guess like the Nipsey Hussle or all those artists that pass away. A lot of people who had no clue who you were, now they're streaming kind of like your music. Like it's also profitable, which is why in the end it's like, well, Al, you're definitely gonna get that Grammy now because he's gone, like, which is really, really sad. But this is what it is, and I think that was the wake up call for Al to go like, you know what, I'm not built for this.
Be your thoughts on this, man, and Yodel Kid being the last resort and kind of his demise, but just get your thoughts on him going to school and trying to pick up Benny and all that stuff, how it played out.
I don't blame him for trying to do it. I would have done it as well. And I know that there was nothing written down between him and is it Bunk, but it was still that was still a whole move to me. I mean, I just don't move that way. I mean, he didn't necessarily break any rules, like I said, but I mean, it was just kind of shady, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, Bunk said that or Benny said that he signed him the night that he went to the studio. So at that point, Al didn't even go to the meeting yet, so he didn't even know about the YWA program prior to that. So it was kind of like he already, he wasn't put on game quite yet. So I don't know.
Yeah, but Bunk knew why he was at the studio initially. I mean, so I just okay. Let me take the chair out from under him. You know what I'm saying? It's the musical chairs, and when the music starts, you don't just sit down. You move the chair and throw it over here and run, and they fall on the floor and twist their ankle. I mean, it's to be expected. Kind of like kind of a sidebar conversation, Tyra. Like how somebody used. Oh, actually, I told you this too, Elliot. How somebody used a clip of me the other day, and they used the Creative Commons. Defense. Okay, that's fine, but still on some street G code. We all black. You know what I'm saying? You could at least just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing this. Is it cool? Blah 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 blah. That's just how I am. Even though I know everybody doesn't operate that way.
Right.
It's to be expected, but I didn't like it. It did bother. Excuse me. It did bother me. But what's also interesting is just the way that Benny moves and the way he communicates. He just like, I don't know. He's just like, oh man, I'm sorry. Things didn't work out, but I got this going over here. But I got to bounce. I got two other schools to hit. It's just that was just his amount of swag and dialogue is really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And to Zia's point too, a mix of Jack Harlow. Yeah, and also too, I would throw in. And by the way, I'm a fan of this artist, R.I.P. to Mac Miller. It reminds me a little bit of Mac Miller, a little bit too, who unfortunately passed away with an overdose. And I think he had a hell of a future or a career prior to that happening. So I can see a little bit of Mac Miller in that too. But catching up with Earn, y'all. He's fed up. It's been 4 days, a whole week that he's been in this this Riley's experience. Deciding water, no. But then he comes to realization that maybe he needs to experience D'Angelo. What is it, D'Angelo? And that was the key word to bring him into this experience, which started with you, B. Just curious on your interpretation of them opening up this, which to me was almost like where you put like cremation, when you cremate a body and they light them on fire, or when you put a dead person's body before the autopsy. It was very kind of, I don't know if it symbolized like this rebirth or birth, but your whole process of him going through that, first and foremost, I'm walking through a door before I'm walking through that little situation. But your thoughts be on him going through this tunnel and the whole, I don't know, symbolizing of what that could have meant in your eyes.
Yeah, man, kind of just like all the science fiction stuff like we're into. I was kind of getting some the Chronicles of Narnia vibes, with the closet and the chest. You go in there, you come out, you're in a completely different realm or something like that. I mean, I'm also just thinking about the conversation that the people had to have amongst each other to set this up. Okay, if somebody gets the invitation, you're going to sit here and not say anything.
Tyra, is this one of D'Angelo's albums about going through is this the D'Angelo thing that we should know about, Tyra?
No.
And not only that, it's the shirt too, and that the guy had on. I don't know what era that's
from. And this man is from the 70s, bro. 87. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, man, they go in there and that's the conversation. Like I was saying, I'm also interested. Like, have y'all ever had a chicken skin sandwich like that before? He left the meat off. He just ate the skin. I know it's good, but I ain't never done it like that before. I may have to try that someday. So I don't know. Y'all let us know in the comments if I've been missing out all these years. But for a half a second, man, I really thought it was D'Angelo at first because
2 seconds. I was right there with you, B.
I was like,
Back
wait
of
a
the head.
minute. I'm like, what happened? Because he had the braids and all of that, and the music was playing and the vibe was right. And I was like, okay, what? I haven't seen D'Angelo in a minute now. Are we going to get a
Right.
backstory of his downfall? Or like what happened?
Oh.
And then it was like, oh, it's this other cat. And I'm just like, what is going
Dollar
on?
Tree
And
D'Angelo.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Dollar Tree D'Angelo. But no, on the serious note, man, I was like, okay, there has to be some deeper meaning. And he brought up the conversation, and y'all maybe have to help me out with this, to where Aaron was always having a dream,
Mhm.
and the hand was pulling him down, and he was like, why do you feel like that's a threat or something like that?
Right.
And so in my recap, I had Googled, I was like, okay, what is the meaning of D'Angelo? And it said it had like an Italian background or something like that, which was also in the synopsis of the episode. But
Mhm.
it said it was like an angelic messenger or something. And I guess this is a message, or the D'Angelo experience was a message to Earn, to open his eyes up, his senses, to realize something that he didn't before. I'm
Mhm.
still trying to make it make sense. But that's where I'm at on it right there. Little bit of random comedy with the chicken skins and all that, tying in with him, open his eyes up, talking about dreams he'd been having since he was a little kid. So
Right.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
I mean, there's so much to digest in this scene for sure. I mean, Tyra, I mean, to pick off of where Brandon was talking about, just kind of what you interpreted, him going through that corridor and coming out on the other side. And you mentioned it actually earlier, Tyra, like he looks to be stuck in a certain era, like early 2000s. I think it was an Xbox. He was playing like
Yeah.
Tekken, and just like he was stuck in time. So yeah, your thoughts, your deeper meanings, and like B said, when we saw the back of his head, now Tyra probably knew off the bat because
Oh
apparently
yeah.
she is the D'Angelo
Those
expert.
braids had
Right.
no hang time. That is not D'Angelo.
She knew from Jump Street that wasn't him. But your thoughts, Tyra, on this whole scene, and we're gonna actually talk a little bit more about that dream sequence here in a bit. But just your thoughts on what you took away from it.
Oh man, like this scene, like this was crazy. I mean, of course, with him waiting there, I think we all assumed like when he got up, he was going to open that vault. And I was like, oh, he's opening a
Yep.
side. Well, I was like, oh man. But once I saw it, like when I think about him as an artist, like he pretty much did have a rebirth. Pretty much, and he
Mm.
had to just all of the things that Al had to go through to get to him, and he
Mhm.
realized like we are D'Angelo. So him sitting there, and it did kind of look like jail, just going through the
Yeah.
motions. You got the count on the wall, like this is how long
Mm-hmm.
I've been in here and
A wife
everything.
beater and all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I very much so felt like he was having his D'Angelo experience at that moment and kind of going through the trenches that he went through. But in regards to him going through that, it's just like, I have to go through all of these things. Yeah, you're going through this. You want the D'Angelo experience. This is what it is, because he really had a tough time. So when we go and, he goes all the way through and he like comes out and it's just like, oh, it's like stuck in time. We have braids. We have all this old stuff. It's like, yeah, because
Xbox.
Ern is,
Yeah.
yes, Ern is pretty much in search for that brown sugar 1990s, early 2000s. How does it feel, D'Angelo? And that is just, yeah, it's locked and it's stuck in time here because he is not that anymore. The person who maybe wanted you as a manager or whatever, that's it. And then he brings up that chicken on that sandwich. Like this. First of all, give yourself hypertension by putting all that seasoning salt on that sandwich. I was like,
Seasoning side. I think there was butter on peanut butter. You just brought up brown sugar, Ty. I wonder if there was some brown sugar on there too. I don't know. And
No,
give me that
like,
Capri Sun that girl was drinking in
yeah,
this
I mean,
sandwich. That's a good lunch.
I cook. If you see that seasoning salt right there in the back, that red top, that is all salt. I was like, first of all, nobody can digest that. You're gonna pass out from
For
one
real.
bite. That was already just out of there. But when he gives him that hey, you've been having this dream all this time that somebody is pulling you down. Who says so much that is a bad thing, that that what you're running from? And we know that he has had like tunnel vision as far as his career from the time that we met him. And of course, we thought it was just to get out of that situation. But now with everything as far as what we learned of, going to therapy and all those other things and Sasha and whatnot, like it's a whole lot. So it's like you're trying so hard to get away from that you are kind of low-key losing yourself, your moral compass. Like he's so disconnected from the group. Like even when we go, like I was so surprised to see where Al is enough in this episode at the end to ask him, are you okay? Like, I'm not okay. What's going on with you? But he's just, it's like, yeah, it's money to make. It's like, I don't care. And he tries to give him that, hey, all of these things that you feel like have been pulling you down and holding you back. And I don't want to go back to that. I'm earned. If I have to, do things like be in search for D'Angelo to get the next, like, yeah, you're trying to get artists, not only like D'Angelo, but other people, and bring them into this industry. And from what we can see, like, the industry is horrible. It sucks.
Yeah.
But the moral of that, like, that doesn't bother her anymore. As you see, like, he was in the meeting, like, yeah, I don't care about any of that. Whatever you got to put on her to make her popping again and make people buy that book with that assault rifle on it, that's what we're doing. So once he tells him, like, he tries to give Ern some knowledge in that moment. Like, you want the D'Angelo experience, that this is what it is. Once I crawled my way out of the dark and I came back, oh, look at that. That is not D'Angelo, child.
Man.
And I made it back, like, this is who I am. And all of those things that you feel like are bad, or this is going to hold me back, I'm not going to, earn as much or whatever, that's not going to be that. Like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to make you see that whatever you are, like, right now, like, this isn't as important, because Ern has changed, like, so much. I saw some comments. It's like, this has always been Ern. I was like, I feel like this journey that he's been on, to get to where he feels like he needs to be financially or whatever, it's changed him a whole lot. I think the vision he had for himself in the beginning, I think is totally different, and he's kind of losing that moral, like, and he gives the I don't know what that was, like, he rubbed across his forehead. It was very much giving Lion King, like, Simba. Like, do you understand what I'm trying to drop?
He did play Simba,
like,
and Lion King.
Like, calm down. This isn't what you're trying to do. This isn't the end all to be all. This isn't what's important. Trying to be that messenger, like B said. And it's just like, yeah, you got it. I was like, so you're not D'Angelo? All right, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Like, I'm out of here. Like, so you still trying to sign me? Like, no, absolutely not. But he thought at that moment, like, he could give him that revelation of the things that you think are trying to pull you down. Like, he needs to check himself. I feel like we're gonna have him just really, really change, and it's gonna be a different Ern that we've never seen, that we haven't seen so far. And in that moment, once he just, like, because the room kind of stopped, and it was just like, oh, so you're not D'Angelo? Yeah, bye.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Well, yeah, I'm an artist. Like, you like the way I sound. Like, it was good, but yeah, you're not D'Angelo. Is going to bring in money. Like, I don't know who you are. You're a nobody. Bye.
But I mean, to your point, and well said from both you guys as far as your intake. But one of the comments you just mentioned, Tyra, in regards to the thing that he got away from that was, we'll talk about this dream sequence, but instead of for monetizing D'Angelo and exploiting, this artist, whatever, he actually got some knowledge, which I think, to your point, Tyra, I think we're going to see Al on a different path after the scavenger hunt, and now seeing after Ern, after this very weird D'Angelo experience. I think we're going to see him on a different side, because, like you said, he's so jaded now, because he has been working with Al, working with various different artists, and he's just kind of desensitized towards, like, a human connection in regards to, like, actually caring for who you're, managing and whatnot. So I think we will see maybe a different version of him, which will be very exciting to see these two different paths. But before we move on and talk about that dream, because I think there is a lot of substance with that message he gave him, shout out to G-Mac with the super chat. He says, I will cash app all y'all if you will go live and do a chicken skin peanut butter sandwich mukbang. Tyra B, I think the first question we have for you, Mac, is how much are you offering $1 million like my man did earlier in the episode?
Like, how much?
How much are we talking here about this mukbang?
We can talk about it.
Right, I got some chicken in the fridge right now. We can make it happen. But shout out to you. But the question I have for Tyra and Brandon is, are we going, when we setting this up? That's the question I got for y'all. When we doing this mukbang?
Hey man, just let me know the time and the place. I'm there.
If I got to put all that salt on it, it's a no. Like, I'm not trying to die for a mukbang. But if I just got to taste a little peanut butter and chicken, I'm down for it. How much you got?
Listen, I guess I might be out of the, because I don't know if I ever told you, I'm not a vegan. I haven't eaten meat in over 3 years, but I consume dairy products, so I'm not like a vegan. But I guess I'm a vegetarian, so I guess I have to bow out, or I have to get like because there's a ton of alternative options out there. So let me know the schematics, Mac.
If it has to be real chicken for you to participate.
Yeah,
that's all right.
I'm gonna definitely talk to you about this too at a later time, Elliot.
We gotta set it up, Mac. We're gonna go ahead and let you know about that, Mac. But shout out to you with the super chat. Much love. But question I have for you guys, and you mentioned it, B, and you mentioned it too, Tyra. Before we get into the conversation, the first thing I thought of when he brought up the dreams was like, man, this is a recurring thing, because this dates back to many different things. And I'm gonna play a quick clip here for you all.
You're cursed too.
Oh shit!
I had a weird dream. in this pool, but it was like the ocean, and I swam through seaweed, but it wasn't seaweed, it was hands. The hands grab you, they pull you down and drown you, so swim above them.
It's been a recurring themes, and so that the first clip was from season 3. We know from three slaps with the hands pulling them down, and then that other clip I just showed was from season 1, episode 1, titled "The Big Bang." So Tyra, this goes back from the beginning.
Yeah.
So they're tying everything back, and we learned that these dreams aren't necessarily bad. Why are you running away from these hands? They could be helpful, and we know that Earn he doesn't want help. He wants to do it on his own. He wants to prove everyone wrong. Tyra, your thoughts on these, and again, last season finale, cutting up those hands. Hands are a very big theme in this show. I'm hopeful to get a payoff with these hands, but your thoughts on these dreams?
Well, from the looks of it, they all look to be black hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I think Earn is sacrificing a lot of, because most of the artists that we've seen him work with are, black artists. And
Right.
it's just like you're kind of stepping on people at this point. And that's the life of a manager, period, to kind of save yourself. Like, not even just artists, but even just relationships that he's had. Like he's trying to get so far away from that and run from something that he's he's kind of losing his way as far as who he is as a person. And it's just like, if you can maybe, you can do two things at once. Like, you don't have to totally lose who you are or your moral compass just so you can, be a part of this industry. And if that's the case, then you might need to, hold one of those black hands that you feel like are holding you back instead of trying to shake them off.
B, your thoughts on his hands again? Why are you running away from? Maybe he needs to help more black artists, more black people in dire situations. Maybe your thoughts on these dreams, man.
Well, first, Ellen, I'm gonna need a warning. Next time
Let's
we're gonna
get you
play
there.
that
To
clip.
get a little-
You got
little
me, man.
scared.
Yeah, you kind of scared me there a little bit. I was like, "What the hell?" It kind of sent a chill down my spine. Of course, though,
It's spooky season.
I did think of that scene immediately.
Yeah.
When talking about the hands, I'm like, he talking about season 3, episode 1.
Yep.
I did not remember the other part though from season 1. So thank you for reminding me of the clip. I don't know what the hell it means though, man. I don't have anything insightful to say other than I don't know what it means, because while you say that Earn doesn't want help, I mean, he seems like he does. From what I remember, I do remember him asking, from help from this person, this person, this person. So I don't know what to make of it. It circles back around, to season 3 and season 1. I just don't have a deeper meaning for it, and hopefully, this season will reveal that to us. But for right now, I'm clueless.
Yeah, man. I think again, from his therapy session last week to having this realization with Dollar Tree D'Angelo, and as Tyra said, I think we're gonna eventually see a new leaf or a new, which is again, this goes back to the very first conversation we had, Tyra, earlier in the episode about like, it is sad that this is the last season because there is just so much that you can explore with these characters and seeing them change and evolve and all that good stuff. But I'm hoping that within the coming weeks, and I know B, you reacted to the trailer yesterday. It just seems to be a funeral. Again, there's a lot of death. The themes of death and exploitation, and all these things from your past coming back up, and from the exes coming up in episode 1. There's a lot of things. I'm hoping that they stick to land. And we do get 7 episodes, and it's only 30 minutes per episode. But as we talked about last week, they're able to put so much into these little small nuggets of episodes. So I do hope that we get a payoff with those hands and see if there's a good message or something that I don't know. Death around the corner for Al, for Earn, for all of them. I don't know. Are they dead already? Who knows? Who knows? Only time will tell. But wrapping up the episode, your thoughts, Brandon, on first off, shout out to Atlanta. I know that they have great production. The cinematography is great. But listen, B, that Grammy setup looked like a straight out of a 17-year-old prom. Like, I'm like, this ain't no Grammy. And I don't know if they were trying to be funny, like just, I don't know, or if it was just a budget restriction. I'm like, bro, this ain't the damn Grammys. But anyway, within these Grammy scenes, we see, and I think there was a little bit of spitefulness in Earn's voice when you're like, yeah, I'm not here for an artist or myself. I got an artist now. They're like, wait, you got an artist? It seemed like there was a little bit of pushback. Like, yeah, y'all thought I wasn't peeping game. I'm right up there with you. And I got an artist that got an album that got nominated. Your thoughts on that, and ultimately finding out that his artist is unfortunately dead?
Man, I was so happy for Al, man. I'm like, hell yeah, because like Tyra been saying, he ate the whole humble pie, not just pieces, this whole episode. And so I did appreciate the fact that he kind of peeped game and realized, okay, I need to transition and move a different way. And these guys do have a point. And it seemed like he beat them, excuse me, at their own game. And I was just so happy for him to be petty and kind of gloat and frolic around. It's like, ha ha, I'm here with you guys and I won. But that's not the case. That he just found out that his artist died a couple of hours ago. So it's just like that really sucks. I don't know if that has any deeper meaning to it. It's like, okay, you can't rely on others to get you to your goal, your destination. You have to do it for yourself, because that's what essentially all three of them were doing.
Right.
With the avatars. And so, but then again, if that is true, he can only go so far when he was by himself, because he's selling out arenas and not soccer stadiums. So I don't know. That's kind of just like my 2 cents there. But even going back to Benny, the way he communicates, he's just like, it's like he's talking shit in a polite way, the way he communicates and delivers bad news. I'm just like, oh yeah, man, he's dead, man. He's dead. Like, I just kind of feel like he's laughing at Al every time he talks to him. You know what I'm saying? Just it's really weird, but interesting to me. But I was happy for Al, man. But of course, he didn't get the W he wanted. And also, we saw that Yodo Kid's baby mama had the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went up there on stage.
Junior.
Yeah, she was in the studio with the Capri Sun, but she went up there to accept the award. I kind of thought that that Paperboy Al would go up there to accept the award. But
I think he had left at that point, because it seemed like he was watching.
Okay.
He watched her get the award. So, which, again, I don't know. I assume, I don't follow the Grammys, but I thought the Grammys were always in LA. So I don't know if they're in LA right now, or if they're hosting the Grammys at Atlanta again. This world is weird.
That was
right?
the prom.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the prom Grammys.
Reaction.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
they
was
would have said we're at the Grammys. I wouldn't know.
Exactly. But going, and first off, by the way, I don't know if it was just me. I don't listen to a lot of his music. I've heard he got a couple hit singles. Obviously, Congratulations is a big hit. But I don't know, Tyra and B, did y'all get a little bit of what's my man's name?
Post Malone.
What's his name? Post Malone. Yeah. Did y'all get some Post Malone vibes when you saw this kid here? Where is it? Do I have a picture of Post Malone? This is, I think, before he got all the face tattoos. But yeah, I was definitely getting some Post Malone vibes, Tyra and B. Did y'all see the same?
Very much so.
Yeah. Congratulations.
That flew over my head.
But talking to you, Tyra, again, this whole scene, again, the prom, Benny telling him the bad news, and I think he felt kind of, again, and you mentioned it earlier, Tyra, I think he felt bad. There was some, he was kind of sad that he died.
I thought it was interesting because, of course, I said, like, I wanted to see if Al was going to be like, we're going to do this, then I got to get you cleaned up. I mean, you can barely stand up. But, of course, it looks like we were nurturing the music, getting it out there enough for him to be nominated. Look at this Grammys, child. Enough for him to be, nominated for a Grammy.
Right.
But we didn't, think about the other part, much like, the Mac Millers and, those several artists, who have passed away. It's just like, well, yeah, I didn't think about that, but it's like, well, you're gonna get that Grammy now, and it's just like, this is such a cutthroat industry. Like, like he said, the condescending way, like, oh, he's dead, so yeah, like it's nothing. Like, it's just water off a duck's back. Nobody cares. But this is what it is to be in the industry, and then you have Al kind of have that revelation because he is sad. Like, this isn't worth it. Like, y'all excited, oh, you're gonna get that Grammy now, and of course now you just get you a brand new avatar. It's just like, no, I don't even, if this is what it's about, if I'm this unhappy and not as content as an artist, and I have to do other things as an artist, and I'm not happy, and now I try to get behind somebody and be a manager, and I'm still unhappy, I think the industry as a whole is just not for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, like you guys said, I mean, even Benny, I thought that was his boy. You thought he would be a little bit upset, or like, no, he died, man. It's crazy. He's like, it's kind of desensitized towards it. But I mentioned it earlier, Tyra and B, and I'm bringing it up now. I don't know if you guys, I talked about the that we get a comeback from characters that we saw earlier in the episode, and I'm referring to, I think her name was Lauren or Laura, the girl that pulled the gun on the black kid. Well, it's funny that by the end of the episode, that the black kid, I guess, is no longer suing her, because that is the same kid that she pulled the gun on, and that is the same woman. So it kind of speaks to, again, we talked about earlier, Tyra, how these PR firms talk about cutthroat industry. The black kid, I guess, took the money for his football team, and I guess they said, we'll also throw in, you can go to the Grammys, you can present an award. So B, your thoughts on just the moral compass of how PR people kind of manipulate or again exploit these young kids that were traumatized and just throw money in their faces, be like, oh, forget about it, we're good, you don't got to sue us, let's go ahead and go to the Grammys.
It's ridiculous. I don't like it. I completely missed this too, just to be honest with you. And so I don't know what I was doing, if I was looking at my phone or what. But it's disgusting. It just doesn't. It just goes to show that they don't care, which
Right.
Should be obvious at this point in time in history and society. It's not for everybody, but people are waking up. Wish it was a bit faster. But yeah, man. The writing is on the wall. It sucks because, like you just said, this is a very important revelation right here, and I missed it. So yeah, it's an eye opener.
Yeah, man, it's sad, man, because again, even for that young black kid, you don't know who he got in his corner telling him, take the money, don't take the money, and this kind of the as Tyra's been saying, the cutthroat mindset. Even he probably thinks of it as a victory, right? Like, oh man, I just played these white folks, they paid for my school, and now I'm at the Grammys. But what's the real implications of accepting the dirty money, if you want to call it that? But Tyra, your thoughts on this scene, and obviously we'll wrap it up with Al being by himself.
And just that moral compass, like it was just so not even just their situation, but as a whole, even though she's a writer or whatever, this is still another extension of the industry, and it's just putting it back into perspective. As far, of course, this is terrible, but it happens all the time. But just putting it back into the perspective of Earn and Al, and who's really okay with what, and who's content enough to be in an industry like this. And I think by the end, because of course he didn't even go up there and care to accept the Grammy, it's like, I am not okay with this. But the person who I've been with, we've been on this journey together, and this is my family, he's very much so okay with this. Like, Earn is like super duper comfortable and content right now at this moment, and Al is just absolutely going in the other direction. And I think this may be like the first time that we actually see them kind of separate.
Right. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. And again, I think it's just so much going on with this episode. Again, it's always like having fun, have a good laugh, D'Angelo experience. But again, there's all the subtext that they kind of have. And this is definitely a show. And that's why I love the show. It's like you can always revisit it and get new perspectives and get different things out of it. So one of the best shows, to grace the big screen or small screen. But wrapping it up, B, we see we get our Darius appearance of the week. Again, short-lived. I'm very excited to get maybe a Darius episode and a Van episode. But we end with them sitting down, and he asks Al or asks Earn, how do you do it, man? And he tells him a very, very cool quote in my eyes, that it's not about what feels good, which we talked about. The moral compass is out of the window. It's about what survives. So you put your own means and your own situation ahead of another human being, because you got to survive. It might sound bad, but that's what pays the bills. So your thoughts on that message, B, and ultimately we see Earn at that table kind of by himself, man. I don't know if that means anything for the future of him.
Exactly. I was going to say something about that exact point. I hope it means that they're still friends by the end of this, and are not just parting ways. I don't want it to be to where they have a relationship where they don't communicate at all, and they're hitting each other up like, "Hey, man, guess what? I'm getting married."
Right.
And
right.
That would be horrible. And so I kind of got that vibe that, like, are they gonna not be friends anymore? Are they? I mean, because sometimes friends grow apart. It's not like
True.
like things happen or somebody did slighted somebody else. It just people grow up and have different interests. One friend may start a family while the other person may not, and that you have two completely different lifestyles. And so I still want them to be together. But yeah, that's all I got from it right there. Great quote, like you said, because that is true. Man. So I hope that at the very beginning of this, everybody there was an innocence to each character. Now it seems like everybody's like cutthroat. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna get mine. I hope it doesn't go that way, but I can see it going that way.
Yeah, I mean, they coming back from they're different. Last time they were in Atlanta, from going to Europe, and now being back. And again, we talked about that new path. But yeah, man, B, you said some good things there in regards to just him by himself. And we know from the beginning of the season it seemed like there was some time that had passed that they haven't spoken since Al's mom's funeral. So there was a little bit of a rift, and he maybe felt like Earn wasn't there for him for losing his auntie, or in the case of Al, his mom. So I think that there is maybe a realization that they need to check in with each other more and be there for each other more, or they could go their separate ways because it's about survival at the end of the day. And Al said to him, "It feels kind of gross, being a manager, but your cousin right in front of you is your manager. So how do you really feel?" So, Tyra, go ahead, B.
I'm sorry, just real quick. It just sucks because I was just talking to we're all part of group text, and so I'm part of one with my friends from college. We've been knowing each other 20 years. We moved into the dorms fall of 2002. It's now fall of 2022. Majority of all of them are married now with mortgages and families and toddlers, and we just don't communicate or hang out as much just because of that.
Right.
The guys that have the babies and stuff, they still kick it and go to the pool because they can relate to each other. I'm still over here, single bachelor kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like one of my we were always, do what we do growing up and coming up and go to the movies, do this, do that, go see the new Marvel or Dragon Ball Z movie or whatever. And that is just impossible right now. Like I tried to set it up like 3 months in advance, like, hey man, the movie's coming out this time. And I wasn't expecting to go because I know he has a little girl and and a wife and stuff. And it's just because of that, it's just, we're on two completely different paths, and that's just ain't nothing. This is how it is, nothing wrong with it. It's how it is.
It's man, we had the deep therapy conversation last week. It is sad, right? It's kind of, you go back to when you were in college and you had these bonds and all that. But like you said, life changes, things changes, people mature. Some people don't. They stay in the same mindset when they were kids. But it's crazy. Tyra, any thoughts on, I guess, on time and friendships? Going away, coming back, never coming back, and how that ties into this episode. Earning out, they gonna be best of friends forever.
The friendliest person, like I've always been.
I hate people. Me and D'Angelo solo on the road.
I've always been more family oriented. Like I'm not the friendliest person. Like this is all the what y'all get on here, that is that's here. Like I'm very antisocial. So
yeah, me too.
A lot of people, I keep the circle real tight. Like who's here, like they're here, and if you're not, it's for a reason. But as far as you have to make time for people. That's just the main thing. And people make time for what they want to make time for. So if you never have any, I don't have none either, and that's just what it is. But as far as their relationship, like I think this is the second time that we've seen them all collectively together and somebody left sitting by themselves. And I thought it was very meaningful how that booth was set up. Like Al could have definitely been here and Darius could have been in the middle of the both of them. Like he's making it a point to kind of be directly next to Al for some reason. I was like, I thought that was because we saw them walk away from once he showed old girl trying to catch Toto in the parking lot, and she was down to her last. And they're like we don't, like we were not messing with this. But even Al at that point, it's just like, I don't want to go to a party, Darius. Like I'm just, and I think it was a revelation for him in this episode for him to kind of get like a peek behind the curtain. Like he just like, oh, Ern's the manager, he does whatever, and I'm just the artist. Like he's always been kind of into himself. Not like, I'm not gonna say selfish because but that's just him. Like I'm the artist, I do what I need to do, you make sure I have my water, my whatever, make sure my stuff is okay. But now that he's had that manager experience, it's just like, oh my god, this is what you've been going through. Are you okay? It's like, I'm fine. Like what are you talking about?
Right.
This is what it is. So it's just like, oh, this, if he's okay with this, and like it's just like, okay, well, whatever, I know that this is not for me. So I think it's just Al figuring out what's next.
And we got 7 more episodes to figure it out. In the meantime, though, like I said, I do want to get a Darius, my boy B's favorite character, Darius. I want to get a Darius focused episode, but I also want to get that Van. Like, where's she at? Mentally, and again, just to kind of backtrack on what you just mentioned, Tyra, with the relationship, I wonder if Al knows that Earn is going to LA. Like, I wonder if he even knows that. And if
I
so,
doubt it.
I don't think it'll affect their relationship, working relationship, because you don't need to be there to be a manager, Skype and text and all that. But I wonder if he even knows if he's going to LA, which would be interesting. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see it. And I know, again, guys, check out Brandon's reaction to trailer 4 next week. Like I said, based on the trailer, we're getting a funeral. Cat Williams is making a return, Alligator Man himself. I think Al or Earn's parents, I think they're going to be in the episode because his dad, Whitworth, Isaiah Whitworth was his dad in season 1. So we're going to get his family back. And then I think there was the rapper you were talking about in your reaction, B. That's again, I don't follow a lot of new rap, but I think that's Gunna, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to be in next week's episode. So I wonder what other celebrity or hip hop artist, maybe Chief Keef himself, will be in next week's episode. We'll finally get him. Yeah. So Tyra, these conversations are what the show brings. I love it. Any final thoughts, starting with you, B, on again, any takeaways from the episode, and again, what you hope to see in next week's based on your trailer reaction?
No takeaways, man. I'm just I'm happy that we're in the 3rd episode and we're staying with the main cast. There's no side
no solo.
Episode, no. I mean, I would be cool with that if we knew we was getting more seasons, but with this being the last season, I wanted focused on the main cast, and so I'm happy there. I like the growth in the characters. It's a good reflection on life, and I do want to see more Darius and Van, and so hopefully it wasn't in the trailers much, but maybe we'll get that next week. We'll see.
Yeah, I would think so, especially if it's a funeral to someone that's close to them. You would think that maybe Van will want to be there for Earn and Al. But Tyra, your thoughts on again any takeaways from this episode, and what are you hoping to see in next week's? I think it's called, what was it, Dark Skin or Black Skin?
Light skinned.
Yeah. So speaking of that, B and Tyra, I wonder if we're gonna get what was my man's name, Aaron, from episode 9 of last season. I wonder if he's gonna if they're gonna go to that store at Best Buy and they're gonna run into Aaron.
He's so like, hey. But I love the show. Like, I love the direction that it's going. I actually like this episode. Like, it's not, even a battle of what I like more. Like, I'm liking everything. Like, it's all matching. So I'm hoping that the show still stays with that theme. Like, I hope it's increasing. Like, I hope they don't pivot off and, we have moments like, oh, I just felt like that was a filler episode. Like, no, I want them to hit every single episode. So I'm hoping that this next episode, watching the trailer, that is more geared towards Darius, because it feels like we're getting everybody's. This was a mix of Earn and Al, but I'm hoping that we get Darius his perspective, because it's always a trip when we figure out where he is and what he's doing, because I just want to know. But I'm hoping that we're going to get that, and I think that we're going to just see everybody kind of separate for a little bit and figure out what they need to do, and it'll be interesting, the choices that they make, or even if they're going to come back together. They're definitely going to change though.
I agree, and I can't wait to see where it all goes. But listen, guys, for myself, Tyra and B, you guys are awesome. I always love chatting with you all, whether it's this or Tyra's favorite company in Marvel, and all the different stuff that we talk about. I really appreciate y'all both. So with that being said, Tyra, I'm gonna start with you. If you want to let the people know again where they can find your content, how they can maybe get some extra throwback content from you, how they go about reaching you out for that, the stage is yours.
Okay, of course, be sure to follow me on Instagram. That way you can have, a good time span for when I have new things coming out. As far as my content, of course, you can go over to my YouTube. All of my information as far as how you can purchase a video, how much, the time span that it would take for me to get it out. That's all there if you want to request something, or even if you just want to come over and enjoy some content. Of course, my Atlanta review is up, and I just did a review for the 5 Heartbeats, and it is the best freaking time that you could spend with me in your life. Like, go check out that video. Like, I had so much fun with that. And then of course I have my new trailer up for Hellraiser, and also I Want to Dance with Somebody. I try to give you guys a little variety over there. And Raising Kanan, I should be doing that episode hopefully later on today. But check me out.
Do it, guys. Do it. I'm definitely I'm gonna have to see your thoughts on Barbarian, Tyra, because I know me and B kind of felt the same way about kind of the switch in the narrative. 3 different stories that I don't think all came together the way I would have liked it to. But I know you're a horror fan, Tyra, and we got some horror to talk about in the coming weeks with Hellraiser and Mike Flanagan's Midnight Club and Halloween. B, I know you're not a horror fan, but you gotta at least be excited for some of these horror movies.
Yeah,
Like
B, I
Smile's
want
coming
to
out
see your
next week.
trailer reaction for Hellraiser. B, when
Yeah,
that's coming?
man.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to mention that. I definitely will not be giving a reaction to Hellraiser. Are you serious? Absolutely not.
Wait, B,
I do
hold on.
not.
B,
I
I
do
got
not
something
need.
for you, B.
Cursed too.
I'm out. Peace. See y'all. Elliot, we're gonna
No.
fight, man. Don't be doing that now.
I
Okay?
love it.
You're gonna make me
I
piss
love
myself
it. Y'all,
live.
please go check out
No.
my Hellraiser,
No,
my
no,
Hellraiser
no.
trailer reaction. If that doesn't get you into your Hellraiser bag to maybe want to check it out, if you're not a fan, I don't know what will, because I love it.
Boo, boo, boo. I will not be reacting to Hellraiser. I will not be watching it. Yeah, y'all gonna make me forget what I was about to say. Goodness gracious. But I do have my reaction for, like Ellie said, for the Whitney Houston movie. What is it called? I Want to Dance with Somebody. And I wasn't too thrilled about it, but I am thrilled about the Knock at the Cabin, and also Atlanta next week or whatever. I cannot talk right now, but it's your boy B Avery, Just My Opinion Reviews. You can follow me on social media. I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, like we talking about, TV recaps. I have my movie news roundup show that's going to be going live later on this evening at 6 p.m. CST. And so also have my Hocus Pocus 2 review coming this week. Got to check that out. Also, I will have my Rings of Power review up. And as you can see on the screen, check out everything. Watch every video you see on the screen right now 30 times each.
Yep.
That would really help me out
Like
a lot.
Share it. All
Yes, all of that. And so Woman King, the Silent Twins, all that, just help me reach my next milestone. I'm trying to get to 50K, but I got to get to 40K first. And I'm right there. Hopefully I can do that within the next few weeks or whatever. But all my information is in the description box. And so, holler at your boy, follow, share, all that good stuff. And
yes.
have some announcements I'm going to be making pretty soon about how my channel is growing.
Okay.
I'm going to be on more outlets than just YouTube. And so I've been kind of working on it as in the middle of this live too. So it's coming pretty soon.
She-Hulk, get that out my face.
Your favorite, Tyra. You would love it.
Yes.
You would love it.
Y'all know this trash.
You would love it. Listen, y'all, as Brandon and Tyra said, we try to provide as much content for you all as possible, because number one, we love it, but number two, we love interacting with you all. So again, Tyra's and Brandon's channel will be in the description of this video. As far as content here, expect, tonight we'll be talking House of Dragons, our watch along that we do, and our live discussions after that. What else is coming out? Smile. I will be I can't wait to hear Brandon's thoughts, Tyra, on Smile.
Ooh, I got to think about that one.
Oh yeah. I'll be seeing Smile later this week. And what else was it? There was the Amsterdam movie with John David Washington, Margot Robbie, and Christian Bale, and of course Atlanta and She-Hulk. Tyra's favorite. We'll be talking about that. Sure. So again, guys, their links are in the description. I will see you all later tonight for House of the Dragon. And for myself, Tyra and B, you all have been awesome. Stay safe out there. And when you get a chance, guys, go ahead and pick up this album.